Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this Money in the Bank review and opinions video. My voice is just about holding up, right? So we're going to get through this video. I want to get through everyone's comments. Last time I checked, we'd had about 50 responses. We should be able to get through all of them. Clearly, this is going to be very heavy about R-Truth. Hopefully, there'll be some other thoughts in there as well. But I've got to show you this because we need to be on the same page. Everything I knew up until this point was in the video on the Wrestling Daze channel, right? The one about R-Truth. Some of you even saw me record it during the watch-along, right? Well, we've had this update from Sean Ross Sapp. So Sean Ross Sapp said there is not one person in WWE behind the scenes that is claiming that the R-Truth contract expiration was a work. Not one. Not even it could have been. A lot of people were very upset that he was gone. Many had direct and emotional conversations with R-Truth. He wasn't happy that it had happened. Obviously, everyone like that is very happy about it now, especially when it comes to what it could mean for them in a similar situation, which is very interesting because this is kind of hinting that if you get released, then there's a big kind of pushback. You know, could it be that the company actually changes their mind? Not only did Truth announce his own departure, it wasn't broken by a website, but WWE clarified that it was a contract expiration and not a release. Then other contract expiration notifications were made. So the Carlito situation. Probably about the only thing WWE could have done worse than letting R-Truth go was to lie to the entire roster and staff about letting the most beloved guy on the roster go. Working to find out details on the return, but PW Insider are saying that the deal was put together in the last few days. So just so we're all on the same page, right? I know many of you have already written your comments, but the belief right now is everything we heard was true. He was done. He was going. It was over. He's had very real conversations with people. And then in the past few days, they've reached back out to him, maybe on reflection, maybe with an improved offer. I mean, look, maybe he's re-signed and he's not getting the money he was getting before, but perhaps it's a lot better than what they had offered him last week, because word on the street was they had offered him a new contract, but it was low. So what if they went back with a slightly better offer? And what if R-Truth has had time to think about it and R-Truth has decided, yes, I would like to stay with WWE. And, you know, we are where we are. So I just want us to be on the same page. I just want everyone to know what the current situation is. I just want everyone to know what is being said. And as of 15, 16 minutes ago, this is the latest. This is the latest that is doing the rounds. So let's go over to your comments. I really think my voice should hold up here. I'm hopeful. 53 comments. I'm not going to bother sorting them out into order. I normally sort them into the order they were received. I'm not going to do that because we're going to get through each one, right? So, here we go. So, Lucy said, it was okay. Naomi winning, Jacob and R-Truth were the highlights for sure. So I'm kind of getting into it, but we didn't really talk about match scores or anything. So women's Money in the Bank, you said, was great 65. Men's Money in the Bank, great 64. You preferred the women's by 1%. Dominik against Octagon was the worst match. You said it was just good 90. Becky Lyra, great 55. And then our main event, you actually scored that as great 72, but so that was the highest scoring match, but obviously R-Truth is going to have played a big factor in that score and the relief that R-Truth is back. I mean, the headline is he's back and people are thrilled, and so actually We Got Truth is trending right now. So I mean, It's just bonkers, isn't it? It's just absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So, Lucy, thank you. Bubba Joe said Money in the Bank was sparks. Women's match was super good. Naomi winning fits my taste. Dominik match was fun. Men's Money in the Bank was a great shout with the faction warfare in the middle and Jacob turning on Solo. What a day of wrestling. And our freaking truth is back. Was it a work? At the moment, it looks like no. And honestly, I hope it stays that way as well. I do not want this to have been a work. We don't really need to get into why. You should know why. Because, you know, it's just not a good look. It's really not a good look. There's people that lose their jobs. And to actually try and make a storyline out of someone losing their job when they didn't really, it's just not a good taste in the mouth. The other thing as well is that when other releases happen, you're going to start having people saying, are they really gone? You know, rather than showing them the support and like, I'm so sorry and reaching out, all of a sudden you'll have people second guessing. Like, are they really gone though? You know? I bet they're not really gone. I bet they show up next week. And do you know what I mean? Then you're kind of encouraging that. It's just not good. Stay away from it. Don't do storylines around people being released. There's so many other things to do storylines around. So I really hope it continues to be what it looks like, and that is that it was real and that he was actually released, and we brought him back. Tannen said it was pretty good. John Elite said R-Truth is back. I'm fine with the briefcase holders. I'm surprised that no Bailey, Roman, Sammy or Punk tonight, and a Fireball ad on the ladder. And let's not forget Cash App on the briefcase. Jacob finally said, I hate you, Solo. Can't wait for Raw on Monday. Night Legacy said absolute cinema. Timmy the Mamv said it was very good and fun. I hate Seth winning, but other than that, it was good. So 7.5 score-wise. I wish I could give you my score. I mean, I'm thinking about an 8, but sometimes I finish a show and I just know the score. This one, my head is swimming. I mean, it might be because the stream was long. Do you know what I mean? And like, my head's just swimming anyway. Plus, I've took a lot of caffeine pills. But not only that, like the R-Truth stuff is like. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, I'm in that 8 area. Let's put it that way. So Timmy's at 7.5. I can understand that. Benjamin said Money in the Bank match winners were a bit too predictable. But beside that, R-Truth is back. The Ghost Noble said 3 fave things tonight. Truth is back, Naomi won, and Jacob finally turned on Solo. He did. Great moment. Uncle Howdy Dreads said, I am lost for words. Dash Kingdom said it was a wild show from top to bottom. 4 matches announced and a fine looking show. Then we had like the AAA match the same day. Naomi wins. Great IC match. Jacob turns. Truth is set free. A mid show became must watch. And I'm glad that Hunter finally listened. Upper 3-way says Jacob betraying Solo, whilst it was long coming, fell flat when Seth won again. LA Knight has little to no window to a world title anytime soon, if ever. Would hate for him to become another Mr. Kennedy. Glad for Naomi, Dom, Becky and Killings though. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the LA Knight thing's tricky because I don't think they ever saw big things for him. And so it really was down to the crowd to get him wherever he was going to go. And he was so over in like 2023. I think 2024, it kind of cooled a little bit. 2025, it's still there. But it's, you know, it's not 2023, is it, LA Knight? But he still gets good reactions. His catchphrases are still over. There's still plenty of support for him. But it's difficult. It's hard. There's so many good options available. I mean, I think this Seth story is a big story, you know, with Braun and Bronson and Heyman. And so, you know, Seth being around a world title and winning Money in the Bank, like, you can understand why they've done it. But yeah, if you are an LA Knight stan or fan, I can understand why you would be disappointed. I agree. I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know what the future is going to look like for him, but I think he will be ever present. His popularity is enough where I don't think his job's in peril. I think he'll pick up more mid-cards, maybe a tag title. I'd like to see him with The Miz, actually. I think LA Knight and The Miz both being a bit lost. Maybe Carmelo turns on Miz, and then maybe those two could go after the tag titles. I mean, honestly, if he's not going to be doing anything around a world title this year, maybe we could, these two kind of lost souls could come together and get some success in the tag division. I'd make them tag champs, Miz and LA Knight, and give them a run there. Kind of see where we are as we head into 2026. I mean, we know that Cena's going to have that one title on lockdown, and then you kind of look over on the other title, and it's just Gunther, Jay, Seth. There's all these people, all these sharks swimming around. It's hard for LA Knight to get into that conversation. Jade said, because the boys in the hood are always hard. Are they? Did TKO ruin wrestling, or is it that Truth had returned? Well, Truth came back, and I think TKO might have tried to ruin wrestling, but the fans may have saved the day. Larry said, Daze, great show. Money in the Bank was great. Lyra should have won, and then... That is actually the logo for the Money in the Bank thing, but it does sort of look a little bit cheeky, doesn't it? A little bit cheeky. Looks like I'm really enjoying this moment, so... Matthew said, Money in the Bank was a very good show, and Worlds Collide was a banger, and my huge highlight was the shocking return of R-Truth. Match of the night is both the ladder matches and Nikki Raw return. Oh yeah, Nikki Bella's back. Can't wait for it. 8 out of 10. Brendan, shout out to you. J Omega said, I know you don't like attachments, but I wrote down my Worlds Collide scores. Go on then. I'm in good spirits. And to be fair, you've not filled this anyway, so. Money in the Bank 2025 match scores. Women's Money in the Bank 8. Octagon Dominik 6. Becky Lyra 7. Men's Money in the Bank 10. Cena Paul Uso Rhodes 7. Overall 8.2. And then earlier we got Worlds Collide. So the opening match 9, the women's match 7, Pagano, Psycho Clown, LDF 8, Paige, Evans, Phoenix, Laredo Kid 8.9, Gable for Kingo 10, overall 10. J Omega, shout out to you, buds. Let's take that off. Cameron says, we want Kota. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing you might see now, where people start kind of getting behind other wrestlers, thinking that they've now got that ability to kind of bring people back. I don't know if that's the kind of... It's tricky, this. It's really tricky, this. I do wonder if that's why Triple H didn't give us an outright answer. The easy answer for WWE would be to turn around and go, you did it. We listened to our fans. You told us exactly what you wanted. You said you wanted truth. And so we fixed it. We brought him back, right? And so, that would be the easy answer, because it makes the fans feel like we did this. It empowers them. But that's also the downside, because you then empower them, because the fans are then going to want other things, right? And so they're then going to start other movements, and they're going to disrupt. And you're sort of encouraging the fans to create movements and to disrupt and make their voices heard, because it worked before. It worked before. I saw an interview with Triple H talking about the We Want Cody movement. And the question was, do you think that empowered the fans? Do you think that made the fans feel like they had maybe more of a say than maybe they do? And Triple H was like, actually, honestly, yeah. To be honest, yes. And he wasn't saying that as a positive. He was kind of saying it in a way, we kind of encouraged people to speak out more, So, yeah, this is going to do that, isn't it? So you might see a lot of we want this, we want that, as people now try to get other people to come back, you know. Kiki says 5 out of 8. Kayfabe Cult said, believing kayfabe fed to dirt sheets. Ron Killing's name change plan. We did it, Patrick. We saved our truth. So I think kayfabe Cult is saying... What are you saying? Are you saying basically that this was a work? I think that's what you're saying. I mean, listen, word on the street is that this is legit and that people backstage were having heartfelt conversations. If really the only people that knew about this was R-Truth and like Triple H and no one else was in on it, then, I mean, it's a pretty extreme work, isn't it? It's pretty extreme. I don't even know that that's the case, honestly. I mean, PW Insider have been reporting that R-Truth was reaching out to companies to try and get dates booked and to try and, you know, work the indies. And there was companies that were interested. All of that interest was legitimate. So as of right now, it feels like it was like really happening. He was really going. And as I said, if it was a work, I don't think that's a good look. I really don't think that's a good look. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he really was losing his job. I hope he was really losing his job. But either way, he's back now. He's back. Josh said Seth's pairing with Heyman is too late for the company. It's just flat without Braun and Bronson. With Roman, it was universally acceptable. But this isn't the COVID era. There's too much talent being ignored whilst building Seth, who doesn't need the case, but he needs it more than the talent. Josh, not a fan of Seth getting the Money in the Bank. Vetrick said it was a good show with a perfect ending. We are back. Blake says 9. Really enjoyed the show today. Justin said I enjoyed Money in the Bank. Dean said I like Money in the Bank. I thought all the matches were great. They had the right people win the Money in the Bank briefcases. Naomi deserves it. And I'm happy that Ron Killings is back. Love the stream. See you for the next one. Well, honestly, I'm looking at that maybe being later. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't even started Unseen, right? We kind of hung around quite late on the stream. I've kind of put a couple of little reaction clips up and done, like, you know, the polls and whatever, and now I'm doing this. I'm straight into this. So by the time this is uploaded, it's going to be early hours in the morning. I don't know if it's not best to just go, do you know what? Actually, let's give Unseen a bit of space. And we will definitely do one. But, yeah, we want to get as much info in there as possible, don't we? So I can't really add much more to what I've said in that R-Truth video, apart from show people the Sean Ross Sapp tweet that I've just shown you at the start of this, which only kind of further supports what we said in that video anyway. So there's not really much I can add. And that's the big talking point. So, yeah, I think what I might do is just park Unseen for a little bit. We're definitely doing one. There'll definitely be one out, but I might just park it a little bit, really dig in there, make sure it's good. But I might do a little stream later. Just an hour, just to kind of, you know, throw a few thoughts around, see where the community's at. And, do you know what I mean? Just kind of, I don't know, see how everyone's coping with, you know, the crazy news of the day. So maybe see you later, Dean. Chris said, Daze, that was shocking. 7.5 flowers for Naomi winning. Great to see Truth back, or Ron Killings. I don't care about being swerved. I just hope they didn't use the release as a storyline. That is a bit wrong. Kind of hoping we never find out what happened is crazy. Chris, you and me, I wonder if we're the same person. I mean, I went 8, but honestly, I would go to 7.75 rather than up. I think that women's match was enjoyable. Dominik match was a big step down. Becky Lyra, I actually really enjoyed. The men's main event didn't really do a great deal for me. I mean, it had a few moments. Logan botched. he fell over. So, I mean, that was great. He did a nice moonsault to the outside, so I will give him some credit for that. But yeah, I mean, by and large, the match didn't really matter who was going to win it. It didn't really matter like which way it was going to go. I think Cody ended up pinning. I think it was Cody that pinned John. So, you know, I've only just realised there was no Seth cash-in attempt, was there? It's only just dawned on me. I mean, the reason why that match went last was because of R-Truth, that Seth does not reappear, which is kind of a surprise. But, yeah, I mean, I'm around an 8. You're 7.5. I also don't care about being swerved. But, yeah, like, it's just, please don't use releases as storylines. But at the moment, doesn't look like that's what they've done. So, Chris, shout out to you. Steve said, we've got the truth. We were heard. Just because our truth came back, I'm giving it 10 out of 10. Chris said, fantastic show. The truth shall set you free, Daze. 7.5, says Chris. Nishi said, it was a very good show. To be honest, the women's match started off slow, but the right lady won. Lyra, Becky was a classic. And the men's ladder match, which actually had 3 parts, was match of the night. MVPs were Penta, Andrade, and LA Knight. James said, most of the stuff was predictable. I was honestly a little shocked at Jacob turning on Solo. I thought Solo would turn on Jacob. I'm beyond shocked and happy that R-Truth is back. I'm very excited to see where they're going to take this story, since it's Ron Killings again. Cowboys fan 17-0 said, women's Money in the Bank was very good. Dom versus Octagon Jr. was not as good as it could have been with more time. Lyra versus Becky was great, but WTF was the ending. The men's Money in the Bank was fantastic, and especially that Jacob turn. Main event was decent, but that truth moment was fantastic, so 8.5. Wyndham is Eternal said it was a very good PLE overall. Would have preferred the women's Money in the Bank to go to one of the newer talents. I think Naomi can get title opportunities. Seth winning with no sign of Punk or Roman was very disappointing, but we got a Jacob Fatu turn and a truth return, so better than expected. Well, to be honest, with very little outside interference, I think we know why now. Normally, they don't want to do loads of stuff on the same show, like this person's back and that person's back, right? If they can avoid it, Bailey's back and all this stuff, because they really want you focused on the one big talking point, which undeniably is R-Truth. So if that R-Truth moment was going to happen, I wonder if you would have had Bailey. I wonder if you would have had Roman. I wonder if you would have had Punk. I think you certainly would have had Seth come out at the end. So I think it would have been, obviously, a different show if R-Truth had not been involved. But, I don't know what the show would have been, of course. But that might be why you didn't get some of those things. John said, oh my God, R-Truth played, just it was never officially announced on WWE. If it was never gone, it was a trick to throw John Cena. Hilarious overall, Naomi, as Money in the Bank is good. Seth winning was no surprise. What he does with it to get a title run will be interesting, says John. El Patata says, women's Money in the Bank disappointing. Dominik versus Octagon, filler plus interference. Lyra versus Becky was a 3-3 roll-up win. Becky looks like 50% champion. Men's Money in the Bank, they really didn't try for the women. Great, but wrong winner. Main event, don't care. Money in the Bank, Worlds Collide. What's this gif? Looking either side. El Patata. Thank you. I thought she might point to one or something, like you was going to say which was better. But reading that, I'm thinking you probably thought Worlds Collide was better, honestly. But that's kind of fun. I've not seen that before, where you use the GIF to kind of, do you know what I mean? Indicate which one you've gone with. That's kind of a fun idea. Callum said, I enjoyed it. The women's Money in the Bank was okay, but I really like Naomi winning. Jacob turning on Solo was good. I don't mind Seth winning. Main event okay. Gonna give it an 8, says Callum. Canal said Ron Killen's return was the highlight of the show. I tagged him in a miss you post this morning. There we go. That was it. Before Money in the Bank, and I got a follow back. That's it. That's it. I think as soon as he saw that, he was like, not Canal. And so he picked the phone up and he was like, can we talk? To WWE. They worked it out. Back he came. So, yeah, amazing. I like to believe that fan backlash did the trick. Congrats to Naomi. I can see Seth milking that briefcase for a year with his new bloodline. Thank you, my friend. Morningstar said Truth getting a bigger pop than both the Money in the Bank winners speaks volumes about how we feel. Blair said it's the best PLE of the year by far. The only thing I would have changed would have been an LA Knight win. The women always deliver for Money in the Bank, and my jaw was on the floor at Truth, Ron Killens. I couldn't believe it. Money in the Bank, along with Worlds Collide, made for a great day of wrestling, says Blair. I agree, but I agree. It was a wild, wild day. Parker, Tiffy Time said, Daze, it was good. I'm glad for Naomi, but I think Roxanne should have won it. But now my goat Tiffany has to stay on her toes. I don't want to see Tiffany lose the belt, but I think Tiffany will defend the belt at Night of Champions against Jade. Tiffany will lose, and then Naomi will cash in the briefcase, and then Tiffany will go on a break. I think that Seth Rollins winning was predictable. I think he cashes in on Monday and becomes the new world heavyweight champion. Main was not good until R-Truth came out. Thoughts? I like what you've said, honestly. I mean, I would love for Naomi to be champion. I know she has been champion before, but and I know earlier someone said, I think Naomi will get opportunity. But, I mean, if you look back on Naomi's time in WWE, the amount of time that she's been here, and then you look at the amount of championships she's won or big matches she's been in, it doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel like she's had the same opportunity as Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, those kind of names, you know, Becky, for example. Like, Naomi was around before these girls. I mean, she is an OG. She is an OG. She is someone that's been around a long time, just like Natalya. And I think for her to kind of reinvent herself and actually find something which is really compelling, I'm so pleased for her. And this is why, I mean, I really wanted Naomi to do it. There was only one result the whole day that I really wanted, and it was Naomi. And I was so pleased when she won. I really was. I was absolutely over the moon. And then really after that, I wasn't too fussed. You know, I wasn't as invested. But the Naomi one, it meant something. You know, just like I'd love to see Natalya kind of do that natty character and, you know, get somewhere. I know the new ex-girls like Stephanie and Roxanne and Julia, they're all exciting, but I'm just not ready to kind of move on from the past. I'm not ready to go, yeah, you've had your time. Certainly when it feels like some of those women have not had that same level of opportunity. So, I'm thrilled for her. So I'd love for her to win it. I know you're a Tiffany fan. And she's, you know, having a good run at the moment. She will lose it eventually. And yeah, maybe she goes on a break. Maybe she just takes a few months off, whatever, whilst, you know, Naomi gets that belt. So I hope she succeeds. I do hope she gets it. And Seth Rollins was predictable. It was predictable. The only thing I'd say is there was plenty of people saying, will Roman stop him? Will Punk stop him? Will Sami stop him? There were some people thinking that it could go to someone else because of outside interference. And it didn't. It went with the favourite. Seth was the favourite. Or he certainly was when I looked. I think Solo had actually shot up in the past 24 hours. But, so, yeah, I understand that he was a bit predictable, but I don't think it was a dead cert. Let's put it that way. I think he cashes in Monday night, becomes the new champion. Honestly, I don't know. He could carry it for a while. I don't know that it's guaranteed he cashes in. I certainly think he'll try. I certainly think he'll be around. I certainly think Raw is absolutely unmissable. So I'm with you on all of that. Elite Pro Wrestling Forum said, Daze, the women's Money in the Bank killed it. I'm happy for Naomi. Good Intercontinental title match. And I knew that Dom would retain. An awesome men's Money in the Bank with the right winner. Great to see the Fatu turn. Excellent main event. We want truth. We got truth, sort of. 10 out of 10. And I was 5 out of 5 on predictions. Well done, bud. Well done. I mean, who would I have predicted? I would have predicted Seth. I would have predicted Naomi, and I'm not just saying that because I've mentioned that in streams. God, I don't know who I would have predicted in the main event. I really don't. I mean, when Logan and John were standing tall on SmackDown, your immediate reaction is the faces, but they're a little tricky. I feel like that could have gone. Certainly would not have predicted our truth. I can tell you that much. Same with Becky, Lyra. That could have been, could Bailey have got involved? She absolutely could have. I don't know. I don't know that I would have gone 5 out of 5, honestly. I don't. Plus also, I wouldn't have predicted Dominik because that only got announced today. So out of 4, I'm fairly sure I would have got 1 wrong, I think. But well done. Well done. Ash Butterfly Girl said, thought it was a really good show. Happy for Naomi and Truth is back. What more could we ask? I know H is saying it's part of the show with Truth, but I think it's because we showed so much love for Truth, they brought him back. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do wonder that answer. It's a bit of a nothing answer, it's kind of one of those where he's basically not telling you the answer. So it's kind of like, did you release our truth? And it's like, well, I'm not going to tell you. I hope you enjoyed it. All part of the show. Just, it's a nothing answer. It's like, so yeah, I mean, at the moment, things are pointing that it was the fans. And I agree. I really hope that proves to be true. Michael said, great main event. The drone shot and the moonsault through the table. R-Truth running. It all worked. The best surprise WWE has given us in a long time. Men's Money in the Bank was great, but what a terrible result. Was really hoping for LA Knight. I'm going to give the show an 8. Opulus Travel said, wow, what a brilliant show. Last year's Money in the Bank, that was the second worst Money in the Bank. But this one, I think I woke my neighbours up. Really, you went round. John, get up. I wish Alexa had won Money in the Bank. And I wish Penta or Solo had won the men's Money in the Bank. But 10 out of 10, definitely number 1 on my top 10 list, said Opula. Mid-card Teddy said they rewarded Steph by giving her 3 matches in 48 hours. AAA exposure on main is good, but it was like 5 minutes. Ads on everything. The gear will be next. The retirement tour is beep, said mid-card Teddy. Should have never fired Truth. And no one wants Cena Paul at Night of Champions. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely don't want that. I don't know if we're going to get that. There was arguing between them. But, I mean, yeah, no one wants that. It'd be heel against heel. Who the hell would you root for? You'd have to root for John. And they're trying to get you to boo John at the moment. So, to be honest, it wouldn't even make any sense. Tony said, R-Truth is back. Naomi wins Money in the Bank. These were the best parts of the show. LA Knight should have won. Seth doesn't need the briefcase to get any opportunity. He is a former world champion. His name is enough to get a title match. Lyra, Becky, I don't care, says Tony. Brady said the women's Money in the Bank was amazing. All the women cooked. Alexa Bliss did fantastic. Proved the doubters wrong, saying that she never takes bumps. Las Vegas Matt said it was a great show. I think Logan Paul isn't a good wrestler, and if you watch back the moonsaults, he lands with his elbow in Jay's ribs for real. I think Money in the Bank matches were fun, but I would rather have seen different winners. Jacob Fatu face turn was well relieved, and we got truth, so 8. You and me. Daz said, I liked it. It was pretty good fun to watch. Just Joe said it was predictable and boring. Raymond said, hello, Daze. So I thought Money in the Bank was interesting, to say the least. Matches were good, and I'm glad to see Ron Killings back in the WWE where he belongs. I wish Cross was in Money in the Bank, but otherwise I'm going to rate it 7.25. Shout out to you, and I'll see you for a very interesting episode of Monday Night Raw. Raymond, shout out to you, buds. Angel said, surprised. Good for Naomi. She truly deserves this. But Seth winning the briefcase wasn't necessary. Jacob Fatu. Jacob. I loved how he just destroyed Solo. It was inevitable. Now, LA Knight, when are they going to pull the trigger with him? He needs a run as champion. I was one of the few that thought the R-Truth thing was true. But man, Ron Killings is back, and I'm here for it. You saw how he looked at the belt. No, I didn't. I remember him revealing his face, and then I remember everything going dizzy. So I couldn't tell you what dude. He might have done a ventriloquism act. He could have started juggling, or he could have driven around the ring in a little clown car. I wouldn't have had a flipping clue. So no, I did not. I did not. And yeah, no, I mean, look, I believe it was true. I mean, if it turns out it wasn't and it was a work all along, I believe the thing was true, right? I believed it was true. So, and I still believe it was true. So, yeah, I mean, it's just mental, isn't it? My brain's still fried. Adam said, I only got to see the last 2 minutes, the main event, because of Peacock being a shizzy app. Sorry to hear that. But I'm super happy about the return, or the debut, since his name is going to be a little bit different. Phantom said, I enjoyed Money in the Bank, 6.4. Happy for Naomi. Jacob turning on Solo. Becky Lyra was excellent. Men's Money in the Bank had some real fun spots. Was waiting for Punk or Roman to come out. Main event was fun. Having R-Truth, my bad, Ron Killings return had me grinning from ear to ear. So that is what you lot had to say. This poll has not been up long, so I really don't think we're going to get much of a read, honestly. But, I mean, you know, live, laugh, love. Let's see where we are with it. So here we are at the moment. So Worlds Collide is coming out at Great 91. So people really enjoying that show. And up here we've got Money in the Bank at Great 61. So yeah, I mean, a big difference. You lot enjoying Worlds Collide more than Money in the Bank at the moment, but still very low numbers. But so we'll have to see how that progresses. But there we go. That was Money in the Bank, and our minds were blown. So thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts. I will see you next time. We might have a stream later, but if not, we will be back on Monday for an unmissable Monday Night Raw. Bye for now.